How you doing today, Chris?
I am doing great, Wade. Hope you're doing well. And good afternoon or good morning to everyone that's joined. We got a good crowd that's already jumped in, and we'll give it a couple, like a minute or so here for some stragglers to get in. Yeah, it looks like a good crowd coming in. It's good to know we're not the only ones, Wade, that are excited about events.
Exactly. And what a cool product we have to share today.
I know I'm excited about this. We talk a lot about on these webinars about our amazing tech development and product teams that we have, and what we're going to show you today is just yet another example of the incredible work that they do at GMP.
Yeah. I remember when we were at our business meeting in India when we decided to make this one of the top priorities for our products this year. Super glad it's here.
Yeah, you're right. I was thinking about that earlier today too, Wade. And our head of product was at the strategy meeting, and we agreed that events was a key area we wanted to focus on. And he said by middle of this was in late 2025, by middle of
Yeah.
2026, you'll have an event solution. And I've learned never to doubt the amazing work of the product tech and dev. But even I thought that was ambitious. But once again, they've delivered.
Yes, they did. Should we get started? A couple minutes in. I think people are rolling in still. Are we okay? Yeah, I'll just give a quick intro. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our live webinar introducing you to GMP events. I want to thank you all for joining us. I'm Wade Brasso, and as always, I'm virtually alongside my counterpart, Chris Cognetta.
Hello,
You know,
hello,
Chris,
everyone.
I was thinking we should get together and do one of these in person. How fun would that be? I could
It would
fire
really
up
be
the
fun.
GMP rocket. Yeah, I think I could fire up the GMP rocket ship and blast over to Colorado. Hmm?
I
Hmm?
you should come on over here. You could have both of us behind the same white brick GMP wall. It would be very exciting. I think we need to make that happen.
All right. I'll check out the sign up sheet for the GMP rocket ship, see if it's available. I got a feeling I'm going to fly commercial though. All
Probably.
right. Welcome, everyone. We'll move to the next slide. Like I said, I'm Wade Brasso alongside Chris Cognetta. We'll move on to the next slide and our agenda and what we're going to talk about. What makes event parking unique? That's exactly what we're going to talk about. We're going to introduce you to the event platform. We're going to give you a demo. We're going to show you how to create an event and update it if needed, and how to use the handheld. We're going to touch on GMP IQ and reports, and we're going to show you some GIP events in action. That's going to be kind of fun. And we're also going to discuss a what to do matrix to help you along the sales journey. We call it our friction to field activation matrix, but it'll show you some examples of when to say what and why to say it. And as usual, we're going to end with our Q&A. Go ahead and change slides, Chris. So event parking can be so different from the controlled gated parking environment of an office tower. In an event parking situation, a bunch of cars enter in a short amount of time, and they seem to keep coming for hours and hours and hours and hours. And oftentimes, the staff model is an all hands on deck, and not everyone has been adequately trained in an event procedure. So events need to pick up the process very quickly. Did I mention that a ton of cars are coming in a short amount of time and they keep coming and coming during all of this? Throw in some internet connectivity issues, and that can add another challenge that is event parking. And often you need to do some real time changes as necessary on the fly as parking fills up, and you need to adjust rates accordingly. You want to take full advantage of your operation. You need to be able to take cash, and if you take it, you need to be able to reconcile it. And all of the while, keeping that never ending rush of cars flowing in as fast as humanly possible. Drum roll, enter stage right, GMP events. Thought that was fitting with the concert venue right there. So we'll go ahead and switch slides. A complete event parking solution. You can create events and multiple rates for specific locations. Can monitor real-time performance with real-time reporting. You can run an event day operation right from the handheld app. No more revenue loss because you lost connectivity. Offline operations work seamlessly. Feel the power to be able to make real-time changes as they are needed. What an awesome tool. The operational flow, next slide, from the start to finish. First, you create the event. Then you distribute the access. And once that is complete, you apply any QR codes that may be needed for the event. And bam, you can start collecting money, printing payments, sending receipts. printing receipts. You can manage the live operation on the fly, and afterward, you can review the event in GMP IQ, evaluate your stats, and create and share reports. And most importantly, count your money. To set up an event, on the next slide, the GMP dashboard, you create and manage each location. You preview and edit your rates as needed before the go live. You grant user access for the event. And if you're going to collect cash, you prepare to do so. You sync all handhelds when the changes are made. Looks pretty simple. Let's see a video to see it happen. So this short video, we're walking through setting up an event. We're going to set the start time of the event and the stop time of the event. Then we're going to set up the location, the start time of the location, cash allowed, yes. And now we're going to set up some rates. So we've got different levels of rates in this example. We're going to have a couple of VIP. We're going to have a regular. We'll have an offer for 3, carpool, and a 2-day pass. Now you'll see this is extremely intuitive. Just walks you right through the steps. Upon review, you can see the rates and you can edit them as needed. Save your changes and bam. And from here, you can easily access all of your events. Make any changes you might need. Save the changes. And that's as easy as GMP event in the evening. Next, you see how to use the handheld device. And we use the trusted, tried and true Adyen S1 F2L handheld device. You'll be happy to know that the handheld device uses your existing GMP credentials, so we don't have to recreate those. The location-specific event manager is supported with the ability to switch between events directly from the handheld. So an attendant can grab and go. They can take their handheld to another area or a lot, switch to a new location, and bam, they're up and running that fast. I love this tool. I really do. Chris, I'll turn it over to you for the next step.
Thanks, Wade. I appreciate that. I had no idea you were both a Harry Styles and Taylor Swift fan. I thought you were more of a classic rock kind of person, but good to see.
Don't tell anybody.
Oh, the secret is out, my friend. The secret is out.
You should hear my playlist for working out.
I get the fun part of showing a couple basic videos here that show how to do some things, right? So the idea behind this solution is it needs to be fast, right? You've got lines of cars that are coming in for a high volume event, a concert, a festival. It's got to be able to move quickly. So we accept debit or credit cards. You just tap the card on the device like you saw in the video. And a huge selling point of this that is important for you all when you're talking to your customers is that this solution works in offline mode. We all know events are oftentimes you're not utilizing a garage. You might be using might be a lot. It might be a field somewhere. Internet connectivity, depending on weather, may really vary. So the ability to work in offline mode and then reconnect when you're able to is a huge selling point and a pain point for a lot of people with other event solutions that they're using out there. We also take cash. I know, especially if you're like my son's age, he's 17, cash is a completely foreign term. And while we're all moving to a more digital platform and the desire to do that, cash sometimes is a necessary thing that you have to be able to take. So you're able very simply to do that with this solution. And as you saw in the video, there's a 2-second hold safety feature that is pressed. I'll see if I can start it up again. And you'll see when he goes down, he holds down that for 2 seconds. That's a safety feature to make sure you want to put cash as you select the amount. You have tracking, and really another important part of this, if you're going to accept cash, a pain point for a lot of operators out there is the reconciliation of that. And Wade was alluding to that a little earlier. So we're going to show you in a future video here in a couple of slides how you reconcile that. But that is a requirement to be able to reconcile it before that representative turns in turns in their device. So it's good to know you can accept cash. I also like to point out you don't have to, and you can turn off that feature based on your client's desires at a particular location. So if you can do cards and you can do cash, why not apply QR codes as well, right? And this can be, you can see there's a camera function. It's very quick and easy. This can be QR codes that come from reservations through GMP's platform, as well as through some third parties that we've mentioned here, like Akra and Tessitura, just to name a few. There's others that are listed there. So you can see how simple that process is. You select the amount, you open up the button for the camera, the guest shows their QR. In this case, it was a validation that reduced the amount from $20 to $10, which is why they still had to pay at the end. You obviously can have 100% validations, reservations. We have the full complement that we can take there. So then we also have the ability, we have ticketing listed here. I would call this more receipts for everyone. So for those people that want a printed out receipt, you can see through this process how simple it is. Now, don't be worried. The receipt for one ticket is not this long. What you have here is a person that you also have the ability with this platform to purchase for multiple vehicles. So in this example, the person is paying not only for themselves, but for the 3 vehicles behind them. And that's why the receipt is so long. It's not that long. It's just a receipt for 4 different. But I was just talking about the multiple receipts that were printed there. That was person purchased for 4 vehicles. I don't know when it cut out there. I apologize there. So yeah, it has a little paper warning device on it. You can also, through the admin portal in the back end, print older transactions. So if someone reaches out and wants to get a receipt for a past session, you can also set it up to turn on the printing by default or just on an as needed basis. So I think you're starting to see just from these first couple slides, with just like a lot of GMP solutions, there's a lot of customization and flexibility based on what your client's needs are. And, for those that are, so those that are getting, I thought maybe I lost, I muted again. So for those that aren't into the paper and want to do text, we have the ability to send a text via phone number. It can be done right there on site, as the video showed, where you enter the phone number in. You can send it to multiple phone numbers. You can also send older transactions, just like we talked about before, via text, just like you could do through that back end through our admin portal. So again, a lot of flexibility to get people, if they even need a receipt for different methods, whether it's paper or digital. So we talked about cash earlier, that you can accept cash payments with this, but the cash submission and reconciliation is a big feature as well. If you talk to any operator that does a lot of events, or if you are familiar with that yourself from having to do them, the reconciliation can be a very cumbersome and lengthy process. So you can see here how simple the process, with a few clicks of the button, it shows you exactly how much you collected in cash during your session, and then you have to enter in that amount and then turn it in. It takes a process that can be hours long and turns it into a much more seamless and efficient process. So all of this is tracked per device, and you can have a full history of cash. So much more streamlined and simpler process than what a lot of operators experience with other solutions. And of course, we have event reporting, right? So you've got it through our GMP IQ platform, which most of you are very familiar with. We now have a whole events module. So just like we have them for permits and scan to pay and express lane reports, we have something specific to events. And these are just on the bullets here, just a few of the items: revenue, session and transaction counts, refunds, activity by attendant, device activity, revenue by rate, a breakdown of session types, and payment method summaries. So really a very, very robust, like any of you that have seen our IQ reporting, it's very robust. And if it doesn't exist, you let us know and we create something customizable for you.
Yep.
So GMP events in action. So before we went live with this, we tested this through a couple operators. So this is kind of a case study of one of those operators that tested it. And they do their heavy events. They had 2 ticket prices. They did at a number of different, they did it across 10 events. So they did a $20 and a $40 value. They used 4 devices across the events. They had 10 attendants who were easily able to switch from locations with a simple tap. and a few devices were configured to accept cash. Some weren't, but they wanted to have some that were. And the device is synced with the platform, just like everything else, to manage all the refunds and support through the back end through our admin portal. And the verdict after that test was that they were going to start adopting it across all their events and for future events as well. And after that and a few other case studies, we felt good that we were ready to go live with this. And I can tell you, sometimes from a reseller perspective, resellers think, I don't really deal a lot in events, right? Well, I can tell you already, we've already had, unfortunately, he was unable to be on this call today. He's on vacation, but we already have one of our sales partners that has purchased some of these handhelds to sell to one of their clients because they have a huge event need. And once he saw the demo of this, it was a no-brainer. He immediately wanted to jump on this. So don't assume that like this isn't a solution that may make sense. There may be opportunities for you, absolutely. Across your customers and prospects to focus on this solution as well. So that nice marketing slide here, the ultimate handheld event parking solution, right? So it is pretty cool that you can do all of this just basically in a little bit more of the palm of your hand, right? So you have no wires and bulky setups. We showed you how easy it is to accept payments, tap, scan, go. It creates a very fast process. One of the things I really like about the device, we had some at IPMI for those of you that were there to show people, is it's very lightweight. I don't know what the exact weight of it is, but it's very lightweight, but at the same time, it's also very durable. And I think when you see the heavy duty performance, like I'm not saying I dropped one of them at the show floor. Don't tell my boss, but I may have dropped one at the show floor and picked it right back up, and we were rocking and rolling. So allegedly, if that had happened hypothetically, it was able to handle that. And then, like we talked about, the real time and clarity you get from the reporting through GMP IQ. Yeah. So when we do these webinars, we always like to, for our sales partners and resellers, talk about how do you position this, or like what are those buzzwords or issues that I want to hear about that lead me into knowing, okay, this is a perfect segue into using the solution. So some of the common things that we hear about, and you'll hear about from talking to your customers that do a lot of events, is slow vehicle processing, right? It's backing up. So I think you saw through those videos just how fast that process is. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory. The result is reduced congestion, better parker experience, better guest experience, better operator experience all across the board. The other thing we hear a lot about are, like, events are frustrating for us because there's multiple ways for people, not necessarily to pay. Like, obviously we have cash, credit, like we talked about, but they could pay through a park system. They could pay through a pay station. They could pay through mobile payment, right? You can see this in the palm of your hand. One device can handle all of that, which creates, like, with third-party integrations as well. And I think that creates just a much simpler, streamlined approach. And when you talk about training your customers' reps on this, how simple, I think you could see from those videos how simple it is to learn and execute this solution very quickly. So changing event pricing is difficult. We hear that a lot too. Those of you that have worked with our admin portal on the back end or have customers that have, know how simple it is to change a rate, to change rates. And one of the key things you can do is change rates on the fly. We've all done events or been involved in events before where you think $25 is the perfect amount to park, and then you realize there's 3 other competitors down the road charging $35. I need to make a change on the fly. Very simple through our admin portal to be able to do that and have it then reflected on the device, and then you're collecting the revised amount. So you're able to respond very quickly. Connectivity. We talked about this earlier. The ability for both online and offline operation is a huge selling point of this device. That is a huge thing when there's network outages that causes backups. So our ability to work offline is a huge piece of this. Cache reconciliation takes hours. I think we showed you through the demo earlier how simple it actually is to reconcile, which is another big selling point. And then visibility into event performance, right? With our IQ reporting back end system, you're easily able to reconcile things. I showed you earlier, there's about 10 different ways you can categorize things. So just like if you've used our solution, our IQ solution anywhere else, you know how simple it can be to use. And with that, we're going to take questions. I've already got some that have come in, Wade. And
I can
those
see him. I can see him.
those of you that joined last month, like I'm usually there to help support Wade with answering questions. I fired off like 5 questions. Wade answered them so well. I don't want to put a lot of pressure on you, but I'm gonna. You
Bring
answered
him
those
on.
questions so
Bring
well.
him on.
I didn't even have to add anything. So we're gonna see how you are you ready, Mr. Brasso, for this?
As ready as I can be.
Okay. First question is fantastic one that came. It asked about, which we didn't talk about in the presentation, what's the battery life of one of these devices? These events, like we're collecting payments for long periods of time. Like, how long does this last?
Well, luckily to know that 8 hours on a full charge is what you can expect out of your handheld. Plenty of time to be able to take all the Parkers that come in for a Henry Styles concert, or maybe not a Taylor Swift concert. That could be days worth of bringing those people in. I'm kidding, but an 8 hour full charge.
So the only thing I have
What
to
else
add
you
to
got?
that is it's Harry Styles, not Henry Styles. So
I
other
did
than that,
Henry.
like you nailed the answer. Otherwise, so
you
you're
can
one
tell
for
I'm
one.
really not a fan.
I'm ashamed that I actually knew that was the right answer. So another good question came in. What about like waterproof, water resistance? I do a lot of events that are out in all kinds of elements. What am I looking at here with this device?
Well, it is completely water resistant. I wouldn't want to submerge it in water. There is a slight an opening there where the receipt paper comes out, but it is water resistant. So good to know. We can handle the
So,
outdoors.
so don't put it in the bathtub, but you can certainly use it
Don't
outside in
submerge
the
it.
element. You can
Don't
certainly use
submerge
it
it.
outside in the elements. Okay, good to know. Ooh, we'll see if we get you tripped up on this one.
Yeah.
This is a good one that came in. So when it comes to payment processors, right? Always a big question. Like the question was, can I use my current payment processor? Obviously, that would depend on who that is, but can you speak a little bit about the payment processor requirements for the solution?
Yeah, the payment processor. So we currently use NMI for our payment processing, and I believe that that is our only solution. I'm going to double check though to see if we've opened that up to other payment processors. But I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on that, Chris, that that is the one processor that we use.
So I can't believe I actually would ever need to correct you, but on this one I will. It's Adyen that is required to use. It's an Adyen device. It does require Adyen, and a lot of
And
our yeah. Go ahead.
you know that I set you up on that, right? So I wanted to answer that one wrong because we all know this is an Adyen device. So the Adyen is our full stack processor.
So even when you answer incorrect, it's intentional to test me to make sure that I know. Okay, that that's that's good. Oh, here's another one. This may we'll see how you do with this one. Can GMP events be sold as a standalone solution, or does it have to be tied in with other GMP
100% it can
solutions?
be a standalone solution. You betcha it can be a standalone solution.
Okay. I think, let me see. Oh, one other question that just came in. So we can both kind of chime in, but I'll let you go first as always. Like the question came in about like what markets, like who should I be looking at? Like who would be good people to target when I'm out there selling and talking to existing customers and prospects? Like I guess market verticals would be the way to look at it for this.
Yeah, when we created this event product, I don't believe that we were going to set the world on fire with our event processing. What we really wanted to do was keep our competition off of our customers' lawn. We wanted to be able to supply a solution that was extremely well priced, that could fit the event solution. And what we intend to do with it is to make sure that our existing customers can grab that with very little setup and very little training. So we do. Yeah, go ahead, Chris. See if you want to add to that.
Yeah, a couple things I would add to that. I think that's excellent, Wade. Those are all great points. I would say, yeah, if you have relationships with operators that are out there that you know do a lot of events, they would be a good target for this. I would say also if you have any relationships with universities, municipalities as well, they often do a lot of events. Some of those are done through operators, and some are themselves. So certainly any of those relationships you have, anyone, if you have a relationship with a local event venue, like anyone that you deal with that delves and dabbles in events, I think is someone 100% that I would look at.
Hey, Chris, we got another one that just popped in. How long will the system operate offline? And I don't,
As
off the top of my
long
head.
as necessary. No, I actually don't have a good answer to that question.
No, we know we have an 8-hour battery life, but I don't know if it will go the entire event offline. That is something we will have to get back to you
We
on.
will make a
Mike,
note.
thank
We
you
have
for
some
that
folks.
question.
Thank you very much. This is an excellent question. You stumped both of us. Stumping me is not that difficult, but stumping Wade, as you've seen over these webinars, is very difficult. I was going to say something like as long as it takes. But we will, all kidding aside, we will get you an answer to that question. We have some other folks on the call here that are going to make a note and make sure that when we send out the recording of this, we provide that information as well. Yeah. Excellent question. Are there any others that I don't see any others on my end?
No others popping up.
All right. So as always, we have our QR codes here. If you don't know how to reach Wade or I, again, don't tell our boss about that. You should already know how to get through. Just like we're going to keep it a secret that I dropped the event handheld, we're going to keep it a secret if you don't know how to contact us. But all kidding aside, you scan that QR and now you can. But I know you all know how to reach us. If you think of questions later, if you want to see a more one-on-one in-depth demo, or you have any other questions that come up. But I think that's all for today, Wade. Hopefully we can do the next one of these in person, whether in Colorado or in your neck of the woods. I thank everyone for their time, as always. Any parting words, Wade? Any parting words of wisdom?
Thank you for all the questions. We love those. Shows good interaction, and we appreciate them. Thank you very much.
All right. We'll be in touch soon with what the next webinar topic. I don't even know what it's going to be yet, but we will have that out and we'll be back with you next month. But we'll certainly be in touch with all of you individually in between then. In the meantime, happy selling and let us know if you have any questions. Thank you again.
Thanks, everyone.